Now, as the government of St. Lucia moves towards meeting its goal of reducing dependency on fossil fuels and generate 35% of electricity from renewable sources by 2020, the residence of the Governor General has been retrofitted with solar panels. The details in this report.
A non-profit organization is helping St. Lucia realize its goal of generating 35% of electricity from renewable energy by 2020. Solar Head of State is working with the government of St. Lucia to help accelerate this transition to renewable energy, reduce electricity bills on the island, and to improve energy security. Its first step, according to Director of Project Development James Elsmore, is to work with the Governor General with the aim of installing solar PV systems on the government house. This serves as a symbol of the political dedication to move forward, as well as a strong signal to the international community that when it comes to going green, St. Lucia means business. Acting Governor General McDonald Dixon at the official opening ceremony describes the step as a huge feat.
Today marks another important positive step in St. Lucia's history towards further reducing its already minuscule carbon footprint, hoping that others, and member states and large ones as well, will do likewise, thus delaying the dreaded scourge of global warming that not only threatens us and the region, but also threatens all of mankind. The government of St. Lucia, having partnered with Solar Head of State to install solar panels on the premises here at Government House, has shown its commitment to the regional plan to generate 35% of the electricity required from renewable sources by 2020.
At the 2015 Paris Climate Conference held in December, for the first time in over 20 years of UN negotiations, a legally binding and universal agreement on climate was reached with the aim of keeping global warming increase below 2 degrees Celsius. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Sustainable Development Sylvester Clausel states the government's energy transition efforts began in earnest in 2010 when the energy policy was approved by Cabinet.
This energy policy attempted to do several things. This began in earnest in 2010 with an endorsement of a new energy policy, which committed several things. One, to diversify the energy base away from fossil fuels. Two, exploit indigenous renewable energy sources. Reduce adverse environmental effects and pollution from the energy sector. Foster an environment to facilitate and improve a sustainable energy supply network with sufficient incentives to encourage private sector investments, and to establish an appropriate regulatory framework.
Under this government, a 5.5 kilowatt PV system was installed at Government House. Climate change is described as a change in global or regional climate patterns, in particular a change apparent from the mid to late 20th century onwards and attributed largely to the increased levels of atmospheric carbon dioxide produced by the use of fossil fuel. Director of Project Development for Solar Head of State James Elsmore expresses gratitude for the enthusiasm showed towards the initiative.
St. Lucia was a leader at COP21 in Paris and an instrumental nation in having the Paris Agreement that we see today, as well as being one of the first jointly of 14 island nations to present their ratification of the Paris Agreement to the United Nations. And it's things like this which really send a powerful message of the role of small islands like St. Lucia in the global climate debate.
Also called global warming, climate change refers to the rise in average surface temperatures on the Earth. Overwhelming scientific consensus maintains that climate change is due primarily to human use of fossil fuels, which releases carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases into the air. For Choice News Now, Janelle Novel reporting.